So, do you just grow potatoes on rooftops? Is that the deal or what?
No, people grow all kinds of things on rooftops and on balconies and staircases and lots of urban places around the world. That's what this book is about.
Oh, and what inspired you to get that done?
Well, I had written a book about public spaces around the world and why they're important to young people, and had a thought that it would be interesting to focus on growing spaces. And the publisher, Anna Kress, had the same idea and asked me to do a book on urban farming just for kids, because nothing like this exists yet. So that's what I did.
Okay, so walk me through it.
Well,
when does this get released, by the way?
It's just out now, so you can buy it pretty much anywhere in Canada, all fine retailers. And basically it kind of gives an overview of why people farm in cities, where in the world that they farm, how they farm. This spread gives you an example of unusual places that you can find things growing, kiddie pools and buckets and colanders and so on. The point being that you don't necessarily need a huge amount of space to actually be quite productive. And it talks about food miles and why it's great to reduce them. It talks about community gardens and school gardens, all places in the city where people cooperate to grow their food.
And these pictures are international, or?
There's a lot of an international focus here, because certainly there are lots of North American locavores who are coming to urban farming for one reason, but there are lots of places around the world where if you didn't farm, you literally wouldn't have enough to eat.
And you've got that noted in your book here?
I've got lots of stuff about that in this book. So for example, there's a spread in here about this slum in Kenya that was completely revitalized because they were able to turn it into an organic garden. And here we talk about rooftop gardening and, see that? And, addresses challenges like how to save your harvest so that it can feed you all year round. This is a spread about chickens in the city. That's obviously a divisive issue in a lot of places. Some people really don't want chickens in their urban backyards and others don't mind. And this is about how people are raising meat in different cities around the world. There's guinea pigs in Peru and backyard pigs in Mexico. Again, not out in the countryside, but in cities like Toronto and well beyond. It's not a how-to book. We talk a little bit about, things like composting and catching rainwater and so on, but really it's about, the how and why of urban farming. It's not a how do you garden, it's how do people make this work in the city, which is obviously a particular challenge.
How do you make it work? Through education?
Well, sure, through education, by joining up with your community. A lot of it really comes down to cooperating with people. I mean, obviously you can start with a pot of tomato and basil on your fire escape, and that's what a lot of people do. And if that gives you pleasure and it feeds you beautifully, then that's wonderful. But if you want a bigger plot and you don't own your own space, then maybe you could look at doing a school garden or a community garden. And it talks about, the side benefits of that, like strengthening your community. This is a teaching garden. I mean, the great thing about a school garden is that it doesn't just grow food, but it's a great way to do units in science and history and art and so on. So that's it in a nutshell.
Wow.
Here's a lovely illustration showing Toronto-like city and all of the urban agriculture that you can find in a place like this.
So how's the response here at the summit for those that may have glanced through it?
Oh, so far it's been great. A lot of the people who are here are featured in the book, including the gentleman speaking right beside me here.
Right. I think we know who he is. He's an icon in the food industry, food revolution industry.
We talk briefly in this book about aquaponics and how growing power is, introducing simple forms of aquaponics. So, everyone's been great. Food Share has been a tremendous supporter of the book. They wrote an introduction, and they've been connecting us with all the right people, so we're just very proud of it.
Perfect. More information, website?
You can go to annacpress.com, and you can go to any Canadian retailer, and they can, if they don't have it, they can order it for you.
Great. And your name again is?
Ashley Dyer.